just wanted to keep him close to her. Whatever excuse you're gonna tell me, I'm gonna say the same thing that I'm gonna say to him. It's lack of accountability. This guy said he deals with high profile clients. They pay more. They might be into certain stuff, but certain stuff usually they're not. He got paid a pretty penny to keep discreetness, to do what he is told to do, and probably to compromise some of his integrity and his boundaries. For example, if he is used to using protection in those situations, they wanted none of that. He did it. You get what this is, and I don't know if this guy's a plan. He might be a plan. Might be a plan. Because his job seems to only flip the mirror back on the people who were crying, kicking, and screaming about Cassie and how much she's a bitch. And they're saying, well, we were the ones who were contracted to dance, and then there's a switcheroo. We were intimidated of Cassie and Diddy, and I think he told the story, and Tasha K said, I'm arguing about her, she had me fuck her on a period, and then he jumps in, and I'm like, I'm not trying to argue. So it's almost like a pimp. So again, chickens has come home to roost. Every escort that ever participated should be suing Diddy and Cassie and Jane Doe on this. But if you the escort, who says that your $400 or $3,000, whatever you got paid to fuck, why you gotta stop there? Remember, this is the victim culture everybody is loving. I think they both are. And I would tell both of them to get the fuck out of here. Cassie, hit the road, Jack. And I tell this bum ass nigga with a do-rag too. But according to y'all victim culture, they both deserve $20 million. Here's the thing. He know getting that $20 million nowadays from Diddy gonna be much harder than if you try to get $2 million Cassie. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you. So good morning.
Okay. Also, the other guy who just talked to the ultimate jury, he did an interview with TMZ. So this is the second interview. CNN, here, watch it.
About baby oil and Astroglide, and made a point that there were 70 Homeland Security agents, and they were able to make America safer by taking baby oil off the streets.
And Astroglide.
And Astroglide. Do you think the prosecution making a big deal of that hurt their case?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it hurt their case. They just presented. This is just the way that they wanted to present it. It was that part was was a nice humorous injunction. And I think when he had said that it was hard to contain ourselves a little bit. But I don't think it hurt or helped their case. But it was just evidence that they presented.
What was the evidence in your view? I mean, what was the point of it?
I think they wanted to show, and also I think the defense just wanted to, the prosecution wanted to, embarrass is a bad word to use. I'm trying to think of a better word, but
that's a question. Was it used to embarrass and to kind of paint him as a freaky guy? I mean, with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What do you think? Because listen, you had to receive.
Yeah.
What did you think was behind it? Was it to embarrass? Was it to kind of paint him that way? Or do you think it was relevant to the criminal charges?
I think it was to prove something criminally, because if it was just to embarrass, it wouldn't. Because the prosecution's job is not to just embarrass and mock the
To make him look like a freak.
Well, I think they did want to, point. They wanted to paint him as, a freaky, head of basically an enterprise, kind of a guy, this big like mob boss kind of thing with underlings that are just doing his job with oils and Astroglide. So I think they had wanted, but they presented it as evidence, But again, we looked at all the evidence equally. Whatever is presented to us, we consider everything together based on the judge's instructions.
Do you think that those videos, the freak-off videos, helped the prosecution in showing Cassie was doing it without her consent, or in your view, did it hurt because you felt she was into it and not kind of objecting? How did you view it?
When looking at it, again, it varied in length, and in some parts of it were, it was just, basically it was Cassie or Jane rubbing baby oil on an escort, and then some were more graphic with, they were engaging in sex. So, again, it wasn't, we didn't see the entirety of all the videos, but, they showed different snippets. But from what I saw, from both sides that I saw, it all did seem consensual. Nothing seemed like it was forced, um, and I think so. Yeah, let's leave it like that.
There has been criticism that prosecutors brought this case in the first place. Mark Agnifilo actually told us in a documentary 7 months ago that this was bedroom police, as he put it, going
Yeah.
into Diddy's bedroom because they didn't like the way he had sex.
I think that was in his opening argument too. I think he said something to the like. I think, or he didn't because he wasn't given the opening argument. But I think the defense said something to that liking. But I'm sorry for interrupting you. But I think they did.
No,
Yeah.
they did bring it up. What do you think of that argument?
I mean, the charges that the prosecution, put forward were very serious charges. So I don't think that they were just going after, they were after him because of bedroom talk. I don't think that. I mean, that's their argument. The government would, countered that and said that he was, a dangerous, head of an enterprise, and forcing people to do, various things. So that was just his argument.
All right, this guy's confirmed to what we thought. He said the freak off videos that were shown in court wasn't necessarily about actual sex. They showed a lot of before, a lot of maybe like B-roll stuff, not necessarily sex. It looks like the defense may have introduced a little bit more about sex to show that she is having fun. She's orgasming. She's having time of her life. The prosecutor was showing apparently the freak off videos from an angle of this is how much control he had over the sexual situation, and this woman didn't have any control, and this amount of control in the sexual situation is almost tantamount to sex trafficking because she's not either capable or she can't make her own decisions by all these other factors. Okay. We got the sister of, oh, not sister, one of the best friends of Kim Porter, by the way, Bianca Alessi, thank you for coming member. Kim Porter friends of LaWanda actually said that Diddy's kids didn't actually like Jane Doe at all. Listen to this. Now, it's very interesting because people cried about this case. And some of them seemingly were friends with Diddy, but I guess maybe strategically it was like, hey, listen, don't say anything about this case. That they could be like, oh, this is coming from associates of Diddy. But now that the case is pretty much concluded, they're now speaking out. And one is the friend of Diddy's baby mama, Kim Porter. One of her friends, or one of, the late Kim Porter's best friends, speaking out. Check this out.
7 weeks of brutal testimony. Yes. Life's most embarrassing moments. We have a unique insight on the women who testified against Shaughnessy. One of whom, Shaughnessy, still paying for her legal fees.
Yeah.
Tell us about each of the main players as you remember them, and what your takeaways are on Cassie.
Jane Doe she knew Mr. Combs, and she really wanted this. She has caused a lot of ruckus in our lives in the past 3 years, to where the kids didn't want her around. I feel like she is doing what she wanted to do to get what she wants. She has, like, I'm going to say, he has tried to break up with her, and she has really flipped out and was very angry when he had a fourth child. And that really started a spiral.
And you're talking about Jane.
Yes.
And then there's Cassie, who was the first star witness,
Yes.
who has moved on with her life.
Yes.
And still said from the witness stand she very much loves her.
Yeah.
What do you make of Cassie's tale?
I have had to deal with her for the whole time of the relationship, because Kim, there's a picture of the three of them. Kim was still with him, and she was 4 months pregnant with twins. So there's a lot of things that weren't told and didn't come out in that my friend went through, and the hurt that she.
I had no idea that
Cassie fucked Diddy when Kim Porter was pregnant with twins. That's news to me.
Caused, you know, I am very disappointed in a lot. She's very close to my kid, and I'm just very disappointed in things that she said, because everybody had choices, and
Other people might say that these women put up with horrible behavior because there was a payoff. How do you view it?
I feel like this, especially with number two, who I was very, very close to. I feel that I'm not going to excuse the things that he has done that was wrong, because those are issues that he needs to work on. But they also did things that were not right, and a lot of things that were not told in court.
wow. Again, we are hearing people finally speak up, and they are speaking up pretty loudly and basically saying, "Hey, listen, these women who you're hearing, they're not angels. Like, we had to deal with them being homewreckers in the case of Cassie. Apparently, Kim Porter's pregnant with two Diddy's with the twins, and here come Cassie. You know, she's down to do whatever. She's an eater. You know what I mean? She's down to do a freak off. She's down to do this. She's down to do that. You know, and it kind of colorizes a little bit differently, because, you know, if you get a woman who comes into a man's life and they're down to do whatever, is this Fahim? This might be Fahim, right? I didn't know he showed up the last day. Fahim. Yes, it is him. This is the guy who did not show up to testify. This is him. He's there the last day, holding the umbrella over the kids. You could tell he stands firmly with Puff. I think he's owed it back. Diddy owes him some loyalty. D-Rock too. KK too. They never took the stand. Never took the stand.
Or they're exiting the main entrance from 207.
Ms. Combs, how are you feeling this evening? Ms. Combs, how are you feeling this evening?
Wow. Before we get to Cassie's lawyer, I wanted to show y'all something. Something very interesting that I told you about. Remember I told you this, chat? I hate to connect a couple of dots for y'all, but you know me. As I said, there's an underground element of what's going on out here. Remember this girl? I'm gonna refresh your memory, chat. This is the girl that Daphne Joy, who was 35 or 37 at the time, went off on Diddy. Remember, she eventually slammed his head into a thing, and they started to physically fight. She called Diddy a pedophile. She said Diddy was with this woman right here. This is the woman that at the time, I believe she wasn't 19 actually. She was about close to 21, I think 20. But because Daphne Joy was 35, Diddy fucking with her was a big thing. I think I've shown you video just to prove that she was cool with Diddy. Let me go again. I'm gonna show you. You know, I love to show my proof. Got to keep the proofs here. This is her. Hold on, right here. This is the picture she posted later, or at a time. She said, "More life, happy birthday to my twin flame, Diddy." Her twin flame, okay? Daphne Joy, who was an agent, you know, agent LSW, whatever you want to think that means, it means, was mad that Diddy was hanging out with this fly young thing, okay? He was very upset. She was very upset, right? Now, you know what's interesting about this, chat? Very interesting about this, other than the angle that this, we've seen this time and time again, the agent hoe gets mad at the new hoe, and she calls you a pedophile because you like a younger woman than her. Because a lot of women feel like as they age, your preference in women should always be their age. It's just not how it goes. A pedophile is only if you like prepubescent teens, which means you'll be liking children, right? This is a grown-ass woman even at the time. But I got something for y'all, chat. You know, if I'm bringing it back up, I got something for you. So this is a woman. And I said, man, Diddy had him good, huh? Diddy was banging her out. He was banging out Jade Ramey. She's a fine specimen. Diddy had it all. Had it all. He was banging Shorty out too. Like, oh my God, like Diddy was having it his way. Now, let me go back to this girl right here. You want to know why she's interesting, chat? You want to know why she's interesting? And let's see if y'all connect the dots here. And let me and if y'all are mind blown what I say next, if y'all are mind blown about what I say next, spam the mind blown emoji. Or if you're new, just hit me with a still face. Remember, this is who Daphne Joy tried to fight Diddy over and called him a pedophile. Look at this math right here. Kanye West, balcony, mystery woman. Now, chat, what we gonna figure out is how come we keep seeing the same women with some of the same dudes? Don't believe me. Don't believe me. That picture might be bad. Just go to Reddit. They have it all. Okay? Kanye was with Julia Fox at the time. He was seen with two different women, and he was supposedly rumored to be having a threesome. Or now you could think what that is. Everyone, if you go look, this is 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Look. Because somebody's going to ask, who is this? Yo, who is that girl? Watch, you'll figure it out. Figure it out. They don't say it there. Someone said it. Like, I figured it out. She was the same woman on the balcony. Chat, she was the same woman on the balcony. I think you got to go to some of these. Actually, I can just put in her name. I'll put in her name. It's the same woman on the balcony. Now, let me ask y'all a question without asking it, chat. Daphne Joy goes to Kanye West freak off. And Diddy is messing with a new girl that Ye just had a threesome with. All in the same 6-7 months. Is it possible that both of them are... Yo, that's my partner over here. Alright, yo, I'm gonna send you a bitch, you send me a bitch. This is like trading Pokemon cards. Somebody said they're escorts. That's too simple of an answer. Diddy, Ye are into a certain type of sexual lifestyle. They're trading women. Do I gotta spell it out even more? Fuck. You don't get it? If you look at it in isolation, why the hell is Daphne Joy at Kanye West's freak off? Wait, Kanye West is doing freak offs? Sounds crazy. Remember, they also have a nickname for him. Why is there a nickname? Why is Kanye being called Bear? Why did Kanye send $9,000? Why is a woman that we see Kanye, remember Jane Doe is during this time, 2022. Why is a woman that Kanye West popped out on a balcony with, when he popped out with two of them, why is that woman now with Diddy a couple months later saying my twin flame? You don't think they were just competing for women, right? Maybe they're in the same type of, that know the women who do this. They pass along other women. What was asked to Jane Doe when she went to that Vegas thing? They said to Jane Doe, do you know any other people we could bring into this? She says, yeah, I know a guy. Anton. No, it wasn't Anton. She was talking about Cabral, I believe. Ain't that ironic? I've never seen this woman with anybody else. I see her with Diddy and with Ye. Fucking ironic, huh? Yeah. So this is, if you look, this is on Kanye to the. They're gonna, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is her. Interested. Feels like Ye and Diddy were more than Eskimo brothers, right? Yeah, chat, you know I'm investigating all of this. So, chat, you want to bet if I go down the rabbit hole, Anton had sex in Diddy freak-offs and allegedly had sex in Ye freak-offs. Is that a coincidence? One guy is having sex in Diddy freak-offs, and he has sex in Ye freak-offs. But a girl who calls Diddy her twin flame is seen on a balcony after a purported threesome or some sexual experience in a hotel with Ye. Maybe it's coincidence, right? Maybe. I believe this is her. This one, I don't know who this is, right? This isn't the Aliana girl, right? Right? No, I think it's this one. I wonder who she is. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Julia Fox.
Julia Fox is opening up about her past, including.
Let me not say what I think. Ye was supposedly with her at this time.
reflecting on her brief relationship with Kanye
While Ye was doing all of this with other women, 2 chicks in a hotel.
West. In an interview with UK's The Sunday Times, the Uncut Gem star admitted that she regrets her relationship with the artist. "I regret that relationship so much. I hate it. It was only a few weeks, but enough to last me a lifetime. I was in probably the most uncomfortable position in my life, and that's saying a lot. I don't want to be known for being anyone's girlfriend," she told the outlet. The TV host also noted that Kanye was insistent on showing off their relationship, which made her suspect that he was trying to get under the skin of his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. "It wasn't my idea for it to go public. If anything, I was like, we should wait, and then boom, it was done behind my back. I realized pretty quickly I was being used as a pawn." The outlet noted claims that Julia had previously revealed in her memoir, Down the Drain, which was released in 2023, such as that Kanye would send a stylist to dress her in an outfit that he had pre-approved, that during one of their beginning dates, a photographer was also present, and that the rapper had sent pictures of the two of them together to Interview Magazine's editor, asking her to tell them how they met, and changing her text when he didn't like what she wrote. Julia also spoke about her son's impact. "I really credit my son for being my grounding force. It was like I can't go down the spiral because no man, no matter how rich or famous, is worth 1 minute away from my child." She then reflected about that time in her life. "I'm not about to hold a grudge and make my life miserable because I'm still angry about something. At some point, you have to forgive and move on because you think you're..."
Since Kanye wanted you to sign an NDA when the two of you were dating, did you hear from him or anyone on his team before releasing your memoir?
Oh, good question. You did not?
No.
I mean, you haven't heard from any of them now?
No.
Okay. Thank you, virtual fans. Julia, you write about this in the book. Susanna Breslin wants to know, during your time as a dominatrix, what was the #1 thing you learned about men?
How did Julia? And yes, while she doesn't name names, she does talk about some of her very public relationships, including the one with the man she calls the artist.
I have to ask you about Kanye.
Yeah.
It's a pretty short part of the book. How do you feel about all the attention that relationship got? I mean, obviously I knew it would get some attention, but I didn't even have the scope to fully understand, how big of a star he was.
Fox and Kanye West were very briefly linked in the beginning of 2022 after she separated from her ex as he was divorcing from Kim Kardashian.
But it wasn't like a grab for attention.
No.
Yourself going forward.
I hope.
Interesting. Anyway, we'll piece that together another time. I've learned a lot. We'll piece it together another time. Cassie's lawyer, Douglas Wigder, is now speaking up about the verdict and his reaction to it.
Inside of that courtroom when this verdict was read. This has been something that you have been representing Cassie Ventura for well over a year. A lot at stake here. Yes, for Sean Combs, but for Cassie Ventura. What were you feeling when you were inside that courtroom?
Well, I think there was a lot of mixed emotions in the courtroom, generally speaking. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen convictions on the RICO charges and the sex trafficking charges, but Cassie prompted this investigation by the Southern District, and now Sean Combs stands before the court as a convicted felon of 2 federal crimes. He faces significant incarceration. Not the exact outcome that we wanted, but we are grateful to the jury for finding a guilty verdict on those 2 federal crimes.
I want to get back to what you were just talking about, but first I have to ask you, have you had the chance to speak with Cassie?
I have, yeah. So I had an opportunity to speak with her, as did the government prosecution team. She's of the same view. Back in November of 2023, Cassie had a choice. She could accept an 8-figure settlement offer and move on with her life and sign non-disclosure agreements, or she could file a civil lawsuit and hold Sean Combs responsible for what he did to her and shine a light on his behavior. She showed great courage, great bravery to choose the latter of those 2 options. She turned away the money at first. Ultimately, the case settled the day after. And she went through a year-long process of preparing for this trial. I thought, and I think people who saw her testify, she was a great witness. She was graceful. She shined a light on this. Jane read the complaint. She came forward. Many other people have come forward, are going to be seeking to hold Sean Combs responsible in the civil courts. And so it's not all lost. He's now, as I said, he's never been held responsible for anything in his lifetime. He was acquitted on charges when he was in New York with a gun case, and now he is a two-time convicted felon, 2 federal charges. The government indicated after the jury verdict was read that they're going to be seeking consecutive terms, and they're going to be seeking lengthy prison incarceration. And so Cassie was comforted in knowing that not only has she played a role in the criminal prosecution, but that she has shined a light on this behavior by Sean Combs, and many other people have come forward, not only about him, but about other people in the entertainment world as well.
Now, I want to go back to something you said, which is when she filed that civil suit in November 2023, that this is really what started it all. And it really is in the civil sense, but also in the criminal sense. In this trial, and I was in the courtroom for most of the days, we heard both the defense and the prosecution say that this investigation, this federal investigation, began because of Cassie Ventura. How does that weigh on her to realize that Sean Combs would not have even been in a courtroom if not for her?
Well, I think it's given her some agency in life, where for 10 years he told her what had to be done and she had no choice. This was her ability to say, no, I'm not going to accept this 8-figure settlement. I'm going to file this lawsuit. And that's what she did. And so she is really gratified in knowing that other people have come out since the filing of the civil lawsuit, and that you're correct. As far as I know, there was no pending investigation into Sean Combs prior to her filing the civil lawsuit. We were contacted very soon after we filed, and this investigation ensued. And the team, the prosecution team, I thought did an excellent job. Again, not the outcome I'm sure that they wanted. They didn't get the top counts, but they at least were able to secure 2 convictions of 2 federal felony charges.
Now, you mentioned the settlement, which, as you are saying right here, that Cassie had 2 choices, which was take the money, sign an NDA, or file a civil suit. She chose to file the civil suit. Now, she did reach a settlement within 24 hours. It was very quick, but this was after she filed the civil suit, after all of her bombshell allegations were out in the world. And yet, in this trial, the defense seized on money, not just for Cassie, but also for Jane. The defense, and this is not a direct quote, I'm summarizing, but Mark Agnifilo, in his closing, he said, Cassie Ventura is the winner here. He called her the winner. He said she's sitting somewhere in the world with $30 million. She's not naive like the prosecutors are telling you. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she's the winner. How did that make you feel, and her feel, to use the word winner when the jury and the world, by the way, has seen her being horrifically beaten on camera?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to your great reporting and the video that saw the light of day, obviously Cassie Ventura at that point in time and today is not the winner. She endured 10 years of abuse where she had to engage in days-long sexual acts with UTIs. She alleged that she was raped, and so to call her a winner, even though she did get $30 million, part from, as she testified, part from Sean Combs, part from the hotel, no amount of money is going to ever undo what she had to endure and what she had to go through. So I think both she and I didn't really take well to that as her being a winner, and frankly, the fact of the matter is that when she testified, she had already been paid the $30 million. So she had no vested interest in anything other than telling the truth on that witness stand. And while the jury did not convict on the sex trafficking charge, I mean, I think it's important for your viewers to know, in the criminal justice system, the standard is very high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. The civil justice system is very different. It's a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not. So it is a very high burden. The jury found that the government did not meet that burden, but that doesn't mean that what she said isn't true.
Now, his defense during their closing also called Cassie and Combs's relationship, and again, this is not a direct quote, but a great modern love story. How did she feel when she heard that? And I'm curious, has she been following all of the testimony? Because she was one of the first witnesses. She was on the stand for 4 days talking about what she says happened to her. Cassie, as we all know, is now a new mother of 3. She was on that witness stand when she was very pregnant, 8.5 months pregnant. Has she just been focused on family, or has she been following this, and how difficult has it been if she has been following?
Yeah, so I mean, she is primarily and has been focused on her family. She did testify when she was 8 months pregnant, and she is really trying to look forward. And when I gave my statement after her testimony, I made very clear that she was looking forward. She did not want to think about the case any longer. She had given her testimony and now wanted to just concentrate on her family, and she's done that. I mean, obviously it's almost impossible not to see some of the media about the case, and so she has seen some of that. I can tell you that some of the comments that were made in the closing argument I thought were repugnant, frankly. Calling those sorts of behaviors as a modern day relationship, saying that she enjoyed sex, saying she was a gangster, things like that. I don't think, even with the jury verdict, that they would have given that any credit. And I don't think anyone who actually listened to the testimony and watched the testimony would either. And I thought that those were sort of gratuitous comments that really weren't based on any real fact.
After Cassie filed her civil lawsuit in November 2023, since there has been roughly 70, that's 70 suits that have been filed against Sean Combs. He denies all of these allegations, but the allegations coming from women, men, minors over the course of decades, egregious accusations of people being drugged at auditions, being drugged at his infamous white parties, not remembering a single thing after they were handed a drink, and then being sexually assaulted. Given that none of these suits had come out prior to Cassie filing that lawsuit, does she feel like she has made a difference and like she is shining a light on not just the abuse that she alleged of Sean Combs, but for survivors around the world?
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of her major objectives, frankly, when she rejected an 8-figure settlement, was not only to shine a light, but to give a voice to others who were suffering in silence. And she knew that there were others out there. And so to now see, as reported, numbers in the 50, 60, 70 or more allegations or lawsuits, I think that she's been vindicated in what she did. So many people would never have chosen that path. If you've got 2 paths, one is to take an 8-figure settlement and move on with your life, versus taking the other path of rejecting it, and you might not see a penny, but you actually get to go public and shine a light on what happened, and maybe others come forward. She should really be applauded for what she did.
And as I said, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, I had asked them for some reporting if they had seen an influx of calls after Cassie came forward, and they had. The numbers really spiked. She spoke directly to survivors of domestic violence. When she posted on her Instagram, she thanked everyone, and she said that domestic violence is the problem. Has she been hearing from different survivors ever since she came forward?
A lot of the different organizations that support survivors have reached out to her and to us, because she is really not the official spokesperson, but what she did was so brave and courageous, and so people see that, and they have shown fortitude in coming forward as well. I can tell you anecdotally as well, just that my law firm, which handles many of these cases, has seen a great increase in the number of cases since she came forward, because other women primarily feel empowered that if Cassie can do this, I can do it as well. And so, my hat really goes out to her. I'm really proud to be her lawyer. There aren't many clients like her.
Mm-hmm. Now, when our team at CNN released that hotel surveillance footage, I had reached out to you for comment, which is a common practice in journalism, and you gave us a statement that we used in our report. But I've never been able to ask you a question, which I am curious. Had Cassie ever seen that video before our team aired it?
Had it, but we had described it in the complaint, and so when the video came out, it corroborated everything that she said. She had heard that a video was out there. She wasn't sure exactly what had happened with it, but she had never actually seen it. But it really, when we saw it and we look back at the complaint, it really, again, it was just amazing to see how it corroborated everything that she had said in that civil complaint.
So everything in her civil complaint was from her memory. It was her experience, and she had told you that.
That's right.
But she had not seen it. What was it like for her to see it? And I recognize that as I'm asking you this, it was our network that aired it, but to see it in such a public way and suddenly have this very private moment out there, what was that like for her?
I think it was very disturbing for her. Again, she's never, and she never will get over the treatment that she suffered. If we didn't have that video, I'm sure Sean Combs would have denied that there was any physical incident at the hotel on that day. If she didn't have the pictures and photographs of other incidents, he would have denied those as well. And so obviously the video shows what he did. Her views and the general public views, I think, uniformly were disgusted by what was on that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think happens next with all of these civil suits? Of course, you do not represent all of them, but now that Sean Combs, he has been convicted, he's a criminal now. He was found by a jury to have committed 2 federal crimes, but as you said, not the outcome that you were necessarily hoping for. Do you believe that these civil accusers will be scared because he won't be serving life in prison, or do you believe that they will still be emboldened to pursue their claims against him?
Well, I think from a plaintiff's lawyer's perspective, they're probably happy, frankly, that he's not going to be in jail because, he'll have his assets. And they'll be able to take his deposition, they'll be able to participate in discovery. If he were in jail, sort of like Harvey Weinstein, those cases have been difficult to get any compensation for, given his situation. If he had been convicted on RICO, there may have been asset forfeiture along with that as well. So, just from a practical standpoint, not a bad thing for those civil cases. And even if he had been convicted of RICO and or sex trafficking, that wouldn't have necessarily have helped those other plaintiffs, because most likely that sort of evidence would have been excluded from those civil trials anyway. So, net, I don't think there's really, it might even be a positive, frankly, for those other civil lawsuits. I can't really comment on, the strength of those lawsuits. We only have one of them actually pending. But, I hope that the ones that are valid all succeed.
Mm-hmm. And will you be pursuing that one client's claim?
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So interesting to hear that perspective. And of course, you represented victims of Harvey Weinstein as well. Now, you're also a former prosecutor. So what do you think we're looking at here for sentencing when it comes to these 2 convictions? Each carry a maximum term of 10 years. The prosecutors have said that they will be pursuing these 20 years to be served consecutively. What do you think is realistic?
I don't think that I'm really the person that would be as qualified to answer that question, but I know the government feels strongly about seeking whatever maximum term that they can do under not only the federal laws but also the sentencing guidelines. And in addition, that they feel that some of the other non-acquitted facts that sort of go to bolster their position that he should be sentenced to maximum or consecutive terms that they will pursue all of those avenues to the extent that they can do so in a legal and plausible way. And so it would be hard for me to ultimately guess, but I would say, he definitely faces a substantial prison term, and I do believe he's going to be serving years, plural. It would be very difficult for me to gauge how many years, though.
Cassie took the stand for 4 days, and she testified about what, quite frankly, are some of the most embarrassing and traumatic moments of her life, things that she may have wanted to go to the grave with had it not been for testifying in this trial. How difficult was that for her, or was it cathartic in some sense?
I think it was both. It was both. It was very difficult, and it was cathartic. If you were in the courtroom and you observed her, I mean, she just answered the questions, I thought, in a very graceful, and I think I'm trying to speak as objectively as possible, I thought, in a forthright manner. I don't believe that the jury disbelieved her in reaching its conclusion. I think the jury ultimately found that the government hadn't met its burden beyond a reasonable doubt under a very complex and difficult statute. And when you think of sex trafficking, sometimes people conjure images of minors and bringing people in from other countries and things like that, and not this sort of behavior, which technically could be argued as sex trafficking. But I think that she, when she filed the civil complaint, she knew that a lot of this would become public. She didn't know at the time.
Douglas, I hate my boy. The chef that supposedly claimed that she used to have to serve Diddy food during the freak-offs, she was set to be testifying, but she never took the stand. Now she's speaking out. Like, everybody's speaking out after the trial. What the fuck?
As one of the actual minor victims to Sean Combs' physical assault while I was employed by him, as someone who was a witness to the abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine during my time of working for Sean Combs, I would just like to say that this is a grave miscarriage of justice, and I would like to also address that last year on March 20th, I was contacted by the federal government. They showed up at my door with badges. I refused to speak to them because I was terrified. So I was served with a grand jury subpoena that day before they left my home in Atlanta, Georgia. I confided in 3 different people about that visit from the feds. Terrified is actually an understatement. By April 11th of 2024, I was being contacted by Sean Combs' initial lawyer, Aaron Dyer. I have a voicemail that he left and text messages stating that Mr. Combs was aware of the visit from the government and that they would like to extend to cover my legal fees. These are facts. This, in my opinion, was witness tampering. I was supposed to testify this year on May 20th. I was in New York. It was announced. It was on CNN that I was supposed to be testifying, and I was pulled because I flipped out on the government. These are also facts. I want to be very clear. As a victim, as a former employee of Sean Combs, I do not feel safe. I am extremely traumatized. I do not know where to go from here. I did submit my own letter to the judge. I stand by everything that I said. I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle, okay? I know that I saw her 2 days later at the London hotel when me and one of his assistants brought her a bag, okay? This was a miscarriage of justice. And beyond any of this, I don't really have anything more to say, and I really don't know where to go from here. Just know that I am terrified and I am traumatized. And it's honestly, fuck him.
Well, damn. Now, she claims she was down to testify. They didn't give her an opportunity to testify. So she's getting on social media to let it be known what she thinks about this. The majority of people are still like responding, and kind of we're still getting response. It's kind of like mixed. Some people are like whatever. Some people are like, nah, this is what should have happened. Really quickly, I think Drake dropping something tonight. I think it's gonna be late though. Yeah, so Drake has announced that it's on the way. Okay, 9 p.m. Now, I hate when they say 9 p.m. Does it mean 9 p.m. in Toronto, 9 p.m. in New York, 9 p.m. in Lagos, 9 p.m. in Antarctica, 9 p.m. in Hawaii? We don't know the time slot, but Drake is saying 9 p.m. Now, I don't know what it is. And I actually was about to hit Drake and say, yo, Drake, what I tell you about dropping new music and not giving me the heads up? But I'm gonna be honest with you, because I there's a group of Drake fans out there who lack accountability, and every time Drake do something, they just blame me for it. I actually do want to be surprised when new shit of Drake comes out. So yeah, I'm not even gonna ask him about it. Hopefully it's music. I didn't talk to him about music recently. I talked about some other shit. Hopefully it's music, and hopefully it's good. I don't know if this is the rollout of this like Legend Project Iceman. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about music. Last thing he told me about music was, dog, he said, yo, my talk soon come. I'm like, alright, that's all I need to hear. That's all I needed to hear. My talk soon come, act. Okay, alright, say less then. So I'm gonna do what all those Drake fans, because anytime they get mad and they can't blame Drake, they try to blame me. I'm not asking Drake about the motherfucking music. Whether he leaked something or whatever. Actually, I did ask him for the leak, but whatever. Not like his actual album, because some people actually believe that it takes the air out of the music when act gets online and be like, nah, it's the song goes like this, and no, nigga. I'm just like, yo, again, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. So we will see. But apparently he's dropping something. I would imagine it's music. From what I'm hearing, people are saying that Mealy Mall had tweeted some stuff out that kind of matches this. I don't know. I really just don't fucking know. And I want to be pleasantly surprised. Now, let me tell you what pleasantly surprised means. We need a rap track by Drake. Now, I'm going to keep it being with you. I never liked the first... Was God's Plan the first single off of Scorpion? Anytime Drake drops a single, like, oh, this is the beginning of the rollout type of shit, I never like it. I always hate... that song? But it's over, and it's on... I always hated that song. That song was so... He had dropped, I think, what album did he drop? Six God. The song Six God? I hated that song. Like, but I don't think that was the first song for Take Care. What was the first single for Take Care? Maybe it was. Headlines was lit. I might be too soon, confidence, overdose. Yeah, that was lit. So, I don't know. I don't know if he's doing singles. I don't know if he's just dropping something. You know, I'm always happy if he's dropping music, period. I don't think we need to drop, like, warm-up singles these days. I hope whatever song he's dropping is just fire. So, again, I want to hear some rap. It doesn't have to be a timestamp record. Something with a dope hook. And I'm not going to lie, I think Drake's been on a good run right now. He's been on a good run. As long as this is not like a miss. As long as it's not a miss, it's good. Because, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Drake's been on a good run with some sexy songs for you. Everybody's been liking that album. He don't got to do too much. And here's the thing, too. You don't have to rush music out. Your ops drop music every once in 3 years, bro. Like, you have one of the hottest albums out this year. Just make sure your next move is your best, right? So, I'm down to see what it is. But I couldn't tell you what it would be. But 9 o'clock is coming. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. I'm hearing titles, something called What Did I Miss? I don't know. Again, honestly, I haven't asked him. I'm going to play the fan on this one. I could ask him, which I know I could ask him. By the way, why did y'all tell me Rumble wasn't on? Rumble was off for the whole fucking stream. Rumble was off for the whole damn stream, but it's on now. What? Okay, great. So yeah, I really don't know what it is. I see people taking the opportunity to already title it. I don't know. I'm hoping it comes out officially on DSPs. The fact that it's coming out on a Friday at 9 p.m., it might be just a freestyle. It might be on SoundCloud. It might be, you know, anytime Drake promises a DSP. By the way, we're gonna stay on until 9, so it's an hour and a half. We'll stay on, but if it don't drop at 9, I'm getting off immediately. I'm not waiting a second because Drake and DSPs on. Drake will be like, "Yo, it's coming out at midnight. You stay up till midnight. Nah, it's coming at 3. You're like, okay, I'm at 3. Nah, it's 6, bro. It's 6. Nah, it just strings you along. So I'm gonna see what it is, but I'm interested to see if this is gonna be dropped via DSPs because why not just drop it? Why not just drop it at midnight last night? Right? Last night didn't really have no big releases. Youngboy moved off of the date. Shout out to Youngboy. You know, I was actually supposed to link with my boy yesterday. He was in New York, but he had to dip out to Amsterdam. I don't know what's out there. But yeah, so he moved his date back, I think, to like the 25th or something of this month. So last night was kind of like an open in terms of bigger artists dropping some shit. I don't think Drake would have had no competition. So this is what makes me think: is he dropping via DSPs? Because why not drop last night, right? Now, granted, I keep telling you, I hear it's a really interesting and ongoing situation with him and his label. They don't like him, he don't like them, but of course he'll still put his music out, like everybody's still doing business. But it's one of those things where he don't consult with the label, which he kind of hasn't done for a long time. So I wonder if, you know, he's just telling them, shut the fuck up, I'll turn my music in whenever, just drop it when I say so. Who knows? Who knows? But 9 p.m., that's what we're getting, 9 p.m. It is definitely amazing and really inspirational that Drake can announce new music damn near 15 years from when he kind of popped off, and we still give a fuck that much. We have to applaud him for that. Like, we care so much, and it's not his first rodeo. This guy's been around forever, but, you know, goes to show his dominance, you know? Does anyone have a snippet of the song? Nah, I don't want to hear a snippet. I've never heard the song, by the way. Anyway.
And that the government would investigate it, but as that process and her preparations for trial ensued, you know, she knew that she would be asked some very personal, detailed questions that she was prepared to do, she knew that she had to do it because she was vested in the process, and she put a lot of time and effort into it.
Was there ever a consideration that she wouldn't do this? When the government began investigating her claims and asked her to testify, did she ever say, I don't want to put myself?
There were a lot of times, yeah, Elizabeth. I mean, I think that there were, it was a roller coaster at times. There were certainly days where she didn't want to testify. And that's natural. I mean, it's a lot that the government was asking of her, and she ultimately did what they wanted her to do. She testified truthfully, but just having to subject yourself to cross-examination, and ultimately, when you're done, have a lawyer say the sorts of things that were said in the closing argument about her. That's not easy for anyone to endure, which is why I hold her in such high esteem.
All right, he's just chatting. Okay, let me see what else is going on. Let's kind of look through some hip hop topics. Let's go. Yeah, we're kind of getting. This is like the post game press conference for the Diddy stuff. Not going to be doing Diddy this entire time. Tory Lane's father says he'll be coming home very soon. There are movements happening in the background. New evidence he'll be home sooner than you think. I wonder if at this point, this is like propaganda. I love Tory. There's nothing that suggests he's coming home soon. Like, I hate to even say it, bro. But, like, it probably encourages people, right? It's like when Dirk was saying Rondo is coming home at Christmas. You're like, nigga's been 10 Christmases. What's up? Fans should have some hope. But, there's a couple key decisions that are waiting. If they go his way, yes, he will be coming home. But, still, I've given my score of what I think his chances are for those. It's not overwhelming. So, to say he's definitely coming home, I wouldn't say that. But there is a pathway for him to come home. So, we'll see, man. Tory, keep your head. I know you're still recovering a bit. But, everybody out here loves you, man. Okay, what else is going on? There's a robot in the hood. What the hell? It was spotted on the 7 Mile in Detroit. Wait, are these robots like remote controlled? Oh, they're doing a video. Yeah, they're doing cameras and shit. Yeah. Wait, is there a remote that controls this thing, or is it just straight up AI? He's waving. They said the robot's already on crack, man, in Detroit. Y'all went to Detroit? Love Detroit, but I'm not gonna lie, man. A city that needs like a overall makeover. Like downtown is like real beautiful. Like you go like 3 blocks, you're like, what the hell? You wonder if you're still in America. I ain't gonna cap with you. An anonymous person who made $7,800 invested in Bitcoin in 2011 just touched their wallet for the first time in 14 years. Oh, wow. Shit. Okay. That nigga about to be tricking like a motherfucker. So YoungBoy fans are pissed he pushed the album back to the 25th. YB fans, chill out, man. He got a lot going on. He got a head on his shoulders. He's sober. He's trying to give you the right music, the right collabs. He's trying to make sure it's right. He's not half-assing it. Like the previous version of YoungBoy would have just said, "Fuck it, it's out, it's out." He wants to do a proper rollout. He wants to do shit associated with it. Y'all, let me tell y'all this about fans. Y'all can't not want y'all GOAT to be goated, right? Like, you want him to give half-ass effort, just send out a tweet and do an Instagram live for 20 minutes and that's the promo? Or do you want him to like do it the right way? If he got some good music, he's finally sober, he got a story to tell. Hey, like he was shooting a lot of videos, time kind of came up when the album was going to drop, he pushed it back. It's all good. It's all good. He's not doing the Cardi. He gave you another date. Cardi wouldn't give you a date. Cardi wouldn't give y'all niggas a date. That's a fact. Cardi wouldn't give niggas a date. That's a fact. So, please, don't do that. Also, I'll be honest with him and I'll tell him like he can't be on Young Thug timing. I think Young Thug is at the risk at this moment of missing the mark and the timing of the momentum that comes from people wanting to celebrate you getting out of something like, for example, a RICO or racketeering trial, right? By the way, I did see that Young Thug want to get up with YB. I don't know Thug like that, but I'm pretty sure somebody made it happen. The the sad incident that happened was Mellow Buck's Chicago party was actually shot up. 12 people got shot. The match, no, actually it was 19. 19 people got shot. Supposedly 4 got killed. Listen to this, chat. Yeah. Duck down, baby, duck down. Hey, shoot like motherfucker, duck down. Police, right? I've been having. Yeah, this is like a war zone. They're driving to the bullets. So, nigga, I would have hit the quickest U-turn possible, okay? Apparently the scene was filled with blood and all type of other shit. Here's a video. Wait, who has all the videos? I gotta go to Chicago Wave. Chicago Wave. By the way, Drill, don't put none of this shit up on my Instagram, okay? We're gonna just have this for the live, and that's it. There's even a video of the actual shooting. I think that's too much. I don't want to show that shit. Like the dudes roll up in a vehicle. There's 2 shooters. They shoot 19 times, and supposedly either it's 1 bullet to a person or somehow they have hella crazy accuracy because they shot 19 people. Whatever. I'm not even gonna play that. Aftermath is gruesome. Bunch of blood. This, that, and third. This is where you see someone like 600 Breezy who's addressing the violence to say, man, y'all niggas gotta do better. He say, yo, y'all shot all them girls. Niggas, bitches, for real. Get out the car and get up on your target. Innocent women and kids ain't points, you fucking flats. And he says, but you niggas ain't have no structure of big homies, so y'all born goofies with no guidance and gonna die the same goofy way you've been living your whole life. Love you, 600 Breezy, but worst advice ever. No, you should definitely kill them there. It's just that just don't shoot from the car. Just hop out and execute them motherfuckers, okay? Make sure you put a bullet in their dome, okay? Just make sure you kill them in front of their kids. Just make sure you didn't hit the kids. Really horrific advice. The only possible advice should be is we hope the violence subsides. That's it. This whole like this is not a war zone, okay? It's not a war zone. And if y'all think it's a war zone, they should lock all y'all niggas who think it's appropriate to do daily shootouts. Let's lock y'all on the island and let's play some type of Hunger Games, and who comes back, y'all can survive in a regular world. But this fact that y'all claim that shooting should be happening around kids, around people who got nothing to do with it, at release parties, y'all are bananas. All that, let's run up type of stuff, please stop. It sounds stupid. Incredibly stupid. Okay? Now, there's so much like talk about this. They're saying Mellow Bucks is a rapper that talks hot. She's always getting into male beefs. Apparently, her best friend got shot. Her brother got shot and killed. And apparently, her boyfriend got shot and killed. So, looked like maybe some of the targeted shooting was for them, which is very unfortunate if that's the case. Okay? What's this? So releases we were waiting on for the last half. I'm gonna keep it a being with you. We're waiting for YB. Okay? YB. That's YB, bro. YB, bro. YB, bro. YB, bro. YB, bro. YB, bro. It's okay. YB, bro. It's okay. Long as Youngboy drops, we be fine. What's this? There's a Milwaukee sound breaking out. Okay, cool. Let me see what no jumper got posted. No Jumper have like a world of their own, bro. There's another sex worker. It's a holiday weekend, chat. It's kind of slow, so bear with me. There's another sex worker. Actually, Vladimir found like 3 of the sex workers. He just interviewed one. Listen to this nigga. How Vlad find all the sex workers? Isn't this? I think he got an interview going with 2 of them right now.
So, as you guys start the sex, what happens then?
He just kind of like walking around, watching, kind of instructing her, telling her like to talk dirty and to like switch positions, tell her get up, do this, and then like would be like stop, and she wanted me to dance for her in between us having sex. So we just like set up a little set.
Now this is a little bit different, chat, because this is sex with Jane Doe, not Cassie. So this was a sex worker that worked with 50's baby mom, not Cassie.
Cut the lights on, she'll be like, tell me to pick 2 songs, she'll pick 2 songs and kind of dance in between. And then he's just like walking around watching and kind of instructing her. He'd like tell her to sit down and then tell me to sit down. I'll sit down, she'll dance with me a little bit, kind of just like mixing it up. And he's pretty much just directing her, telling her what to do while I'm dancing for her.
Well, didn't Jane Doe ask you to take off the condom?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I said no. And then she was like, well, could you come on me? So when I came, I pulled the condom off and came on her.
Okay. Before that happened, though, what was Diddy doing as you guys are having sex?
He was sitting in the corner with his shirt off, and then at one point, like right before I came, he was sitting in the corner. He had his hands in his pants with his shirt off. And he was just sitting there, and then he would get up, and then he'd just be walking around smoking, like sipping a drink, smoking as me and her having sex, and just kind of telling her, do this, put more baby all on yourself, kind of instructing her throughout the process.
Right, but wasn't he pleasuring himself at one point?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I remember when I talked to Punisher, right? He said that he was given, very clear instructions to not even, address Diddy on any point. Don't look him in the eye. Don't act like he's even there. He said the first time that him and Diddy actually locked eyes was when he was leaving the stand, in court. Was there any of that? Like, don't look at Diddy, don't talk to Diddy, or was this more kind of like...
No, when he was walking around, I looked at him, he was like, I'm not even here. But like, at the same time, like, I know you tried to record when I was first dancing for her, so I'm like, conscious of him walking around. And he was like, act like I'm not even here,
Okay. So, you guys have sex with a condom while Diddy's watching.
Yeah.
Does he leave before you actually come?
No, he stayed in there.
He's actually in there?
Yeah.
Okay. And Punisher told me the exact same story. That basically he would have sex with Cassie, in his case, and right before he came, he'd have to pull out and bust on her stomach. So that's exactly what you did?
Yeah.
So after you bust, what happens next?
I get up and I go into the bathroom to take a shower, and then when I walk in the bathroom, in the tub, it's like this much hot water, and there's like 10 bottles of baby oil in the bathtub, and like 5 bottles of Astroglide, and just like floating in hot water. So when I walk in there, I'm like, so I'll stick my hand in the water, and like the water's like very hot. So I was like, they must have just put this in here, and I think to myself, well, I just used like 2 bottles of baby oil, so why do they got this many? Like, what they gonna be doing with all these bottles,
So there's just a massive amount of baby oil in that tub.
Massive amount of baby oil in the tub.
Okay. Well, the one thing Punisher told me that was very interesting. He told me part of the story off camera, but he said that every time he would bust, before he came, Diddy would walk near the room and close the door. And as soon as he would come, she would like jump up and like just try to hold kind of like the cum on her stomach, like the liquid gold, make sure it didn't spill, and just like run into the other room and bring it to Diddy. And what he said that was really funny was that he was actually relieved after watching the court case because he assumed that Diddy was eating it the whole time. When he found out that she would rub it on his nipples, he was like, he was like, okay, I guess that's better than Diddy eating it, I guess.
Oh my
Do you
God.
have any idea what Jane Doe and Diddy did with your man juice
Oh
after
my
you were
God.
done?
Well, I finished. I'm in the shower and I'm thinking to myself, like, I just came on, like, she's not gonna come get in the shower, you know? So I get out the shower and then when I walk out, they're having sex. I and her are having sex.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, she didn't even wash that off of her.
Okay, so basically Diddy got your sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that make you feel when you saw that?
It threw me off, really. Like, I walked into the living room, closed the door, and started getting dressed. Yeah, I was like, all right.
Like, I do not want to be here right now. I mean, would they, like, ask you to join in?
No. Like, I open the door, and they in the bed, and they having sex, and I'm like, interesting. And I literally just walk out, close the door, and start putting my clothes on.
Okay. And they give you, what, the 3,000 extra?
The 5. She I didn't get the 2 yet.
Oh, okay.
So she walks out and she was like, thank you, we enjoyed that. How much do I owe you? And I was like, 5. She gave me, and then I left.
Okay. How'd you feel walking out of there?
I was kind of like surprised at the ending, like how he was having sex with her and she didn't take a shower with the cum, but at the same time, I was just like,
so he was like, was it missionary?
Yeah, she was laying down on her back and he was on top of her.
So basically, your cum juice is rubbing up on his stomach as he's having sex with her.
So I was kind of thrown off from that.
Yeah, that's a little nasty. Okay. So you walked out and you were like, okay, damn, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you had a second encounter also.
Yep. Probably 4 months later.
4 months later. So when they hit you, did they tell you, okay, same couple as last time?
Yep. Same client.
All right, so you knew what was up.
Yeah.
So what happens the second time?
The second time it was I think in Beverly Hills at a hotel called the L'Hermitage or L'Hermitage. Mm-hmm. And I go up and it's the same setup. But this time they have like a fruit tray, a couple bottles, and like pre-rolls on the table. So I walk in and we sitting at the table just like eating out the fruit tray and drinking and talking. And he was like asking me if I wanted a rhino pill. And I was like,
what is that?
It's like the gas station pills, the sex pills that you get at the gas stations. And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need that, you know. And then he comes back he was like, what about the honey pack? And it said hidden vault on it. And I was like, hidden vault. And she was like, it's just honey. So I read it and I'm like, okay, it's closed. It's honey. I'll give it a shot. So I did the honey pack, and
you have to put him on the honey pack.
First time learning about the honey, if you know about it.
No, I don't. What is it?
It's like kind of like the rhino pill at the gas station, and it had such a sexual performance. And just kind of chill, smoke, and still had like the towels laid out. So the same scenario. She already had like a list of songs this time that she wanted me to dance to.
Mm-hmm.
So I danced for like 4 songs. She got a pair of underwear that she wanted me to wear for some reason. It's like some black boxer briefs. I put those on. I danced for. Same thing. A lot of baby all as I'm dancing, and he's kind of instructing her, telling her to dance, telling her what to say, like speak dirty, you know. And then we did that in the living room for like 30 minutes. Then moved to the bedroom and kind of the same situation, but I couldn't come the second time.
Okay, so was it condoms again?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they ask you not to wear a condom this time?
No.
Okay, so they already knew.
She asked me to come on though, again.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going through the motions, but you can't come.
Yeah.
Is it because
I don't know if it's because he was pacing or the honey, like the honey is just like a Viagra type supplement that I was hard, but I just couldn't come.
Okay.
You know?
So what happened? At one point you just gave up?
Yeah, I was like, it's not working. And she was like, it's okay, I'm tired, you're good. And then I just ended that one.
Okay, so you took the condom off.
Yeah.
Go back to the bathroom again?
No, I just took the condom off and started getting dressed.
Oh, so you didn't even shower this time?
Yeah, and I didn't even shower.
Okay. And was Diddy upset at all, or?
He was like, no, you good, bro, you good. It'd be like that sometimes. But you could tell, like, that's what they wanted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so you got paid the $5,000 again, or?
Yeah.
Okay. What year was that?
One of them was end of 2023, and one was beginning of 2024.
Okay, so 23, 24.
August 23, I think it was.
Okay.
Damn.
Now, at the agency, you said that you had a friend who...
Yo, how the hell Vlad found... he found another nigga, too. It's like a third escort Vlad.
Right.
And you worked for an agency called Cowboys for Angels.
Right, yeah.
Now, what happened around 2016?
2016, I just moved to Miami from Atlanta, and that's when I got the call for a celebrity client to meet at the one hotel on South Beach, and that ended up being Diddy.
Okay, now previous to that, now you did adult films, but were you actually doing escorting, meeting with women, couples, and so forth?
So at that point in time, 2016, wasn't doing any adult films. I didn't do that until 2023 is when I started, or 2024. So to that point, it was just, I had a job as a market development manager for a small startup company, and then I ended up getting into the escorting business just by way of modeling. Somebody hit me up off Model Mayhem. It looked like spam. First name Garen, last name Teed. Pitched this idea of being a gigolo. Had no idea what that was, other than Deuce Bigelow, Mel Gigolo. So, but ended up getting into that, and it was just dates. Go on a date with this older lady and just tell her she's attractive and this is a great time and compliment her, and that's all it was. I had one point where I went on a date with a lady and she had heart palpitations. Had to take her to these are old.
Damn.
These are old. These women are, right? So
what was
for the
the
most
oldest
part,
woman that you went on a date with?
73. Yeah.
Did you guys consummate that?
We did not. No, I'm not a miracle worker. I can't make the dead rise or this. So I was just like, we're gonna eat this. We're gonna eat this Italian food, and that's gonna be it. Okay. But that's how it was. The whole thing was described to me. It was like, this isn't sexual. For sexual contact for monetary gratification. Like, this was just going to be dates and stuff like that. So that's really what it was up until this point in time.
Okay, so you're working for Cowboys for Angels, and you get a call that there's a celebrity client, and they don't tell you who it is yet.
No, they don't tell me who it is. All they told me was it was a celebrity client, last name Lopez. And then they went on, as I'm on the way to the hotel, they're like, yeah, so just ask for Mr. Lopez. And in my head, I'm like, this is a straight male escort agency. So I'm trying to figure out how does this work into the situation? I'm like, they knew that wasn't my thing. So I'm thinking in my head, like George Lopez or Jennifer Lopez. It could be like, I'm thinking any Lopez celebrity name. Mm-hmm. So then I get to the hotel, and the front desk clerk walks me upstairs. I said, I'm there for Mr. Lopez. Get up there. It's like Latin music playing in the hallway. So I'm really thinking this is a Hispanic person, celebrity, still trying to rack my brain to figure out who it is. And door opens up, and Diddy's just standing there in like a black wife beater and some shorts. And he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, oh. First thought was like, oh, it's Diddy. Like, this is, and then I was like, oh no, it's Diddy. Because at this point in time, people still, those accusations were out there. So I'm like, I double take that for a second, but it was chill. Like, walked right in, and it was pretty easy. Got in there, it looked like an episode of Cribs. It was nothing but Ciroc from like bottom to top of the shelf in the refrigerator. Drinking Ciroc, sitting chilling. He offered me a joint. We smoking. He seemed like he was very cool guy. He just got off of some knee surgery and was doing some type of commercial about his recovery at that point in time. So all in all, when this very beginning, it was more so very chill, just kind of hanging out, smoking, chilling. Not until like a couple hours into that did he tell me like, oh, what were you doing tonight? And you're about to have the best Valentine's Day of your life. And then Cassie walks out.
Okay, so Cassie comes in red lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew who she was right away.
Immediately. I'm a year younger than her, so I grew up with the Me and You song and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. I don't believe that I'm really here right now, but let's see where this goes. So,
okay, so then the two of you started to talk.
Yeah, we started talking. He left the room for a second, and mind you, when I got in there, I didn't really know what was going to happen, but I just noticed like there's a lot of towels, white towels on all the couches and the furniture and stuff. There's a red light over in the side. They're playing like, some very vibey music. And there's like a ton of baby oil like scattered about everywhere, like more than any one man should have, and especially in a hotel room, right? So he had got up and left, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, I made the joke like, there's so much baby oil and candles in here. Like, one wrong move and we all gonna die. You know, we all gonna blow up in this thing. So, but she was very communicative in the fact that she was joking and very playful with me. She told me that she picked me from the site, and it seemed as if this was something that they'd been doing for some years. They said they'd been doing this for a while too. So as far as like the vibe of the night, I took my cues from them. They pretty much knew exactly what they wanted. Again, felt like they'd done this before, and that's pretty much how it started out.
So this sort of talking and, you know, sort of intimate kind of conversation, that lasted for hours.
Yeah, I mean, I was initially supposed to be with her for about 4 or 5 hours. I got paid as soon as I got there. And I'm thinking, again, up to this point, a lot of what I've been doing was just hanging out. At that point, yeah, it was 4 or 5 hours into it. I thinking I'm about to go home, and then all of a sudden he was like, "All right, you know, we're gonna turn this thing up a little bit." The music changed. More baby oil comes out. Baby oil and KY. I'm like, who got this? You know, it's baby oil and KY comes out. It's heated. They've been heating the baby oil the whole time that we talking in the tub. Right? So this was like they kind of knew what they were doing. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, that's when it kind of started off. He was more so wanting us to just talk to each other. You know, his whole thing is like being very verbal. So he was in the kitchen in the dark with a bottle of Ciroc. And we're sitting on the couch, and he was like, "What do you like about him? You picked him from the site. What made you pick him from the site? What do you like about her?" You know, he was more so, he wanted us to talk and act like he was not there at all. So that's kind of how it progressed. But it was a very long progression over the course of hours and hours.
Right, because at one point he said, "It's the love hour."
Right, and that's when when the love hour happened and he became Brother Love, then it was like a totally different, the vibe changed. It was more so like the music switched up. He was asking, did he want to refresh drinks and stuff, like a cool host almost, but you can kind of tell like they had some type of formula of where they wanted the night to go. So I was just along for the ride, honestly.
Okay, so you guys start with sexual contact in the beginning, and that actually leads up to penetration at the end?
Yeah, it was more so just physical touch. So there was lots of baby oil around, as I said before, and he was like, "Okay, why don't you put some baby oil on her?" And then she was like, he asked her, "Do you want you to put some baby oil on him?" So it was more so that, talking, caressing, stuff like that for hours, like for an ungodly long amount of time. And at a certain point, she would start to kind of like come towards me to kind of like move things along. And he would be like, no, go back. You know, you just tell him you're moving too fast. You know, so he never was telling anybody what he wanted them to do. He never gave demands to say, touch him, do this. He would say, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Do you like that about him? It was all about the verbal cues for him.
Okay, so at the end, you guys actually engage in intercourse.
Yeah, at the end, about like hour 8 or 9 or something like that.
What? At the end of the intercourse, though, something specific happens.
Right, so he wanted me to finish on climax on her. So, and this was something that she said that she was ready for as well. Again, we've been there for a couple hours. It was a weird thing because at this point in time, I'd never had like another male in the room like that. So when he was like, finish, you got to finish manually. So it was a task. Like, I feel like this arm was significantly bigger than this arm by the time I left, because I'm just like, you know, this is weird. He's literally off to the side, drinking Ciroc, talking about, "Get it, King. Get it, King." It was just a weird, "Get it, King."
Get it, King. Imagine a nigga cheering you on to nut. Yo, get it, King. You deserve it, Daddy. You deserve it, man. You've been scrambling and scraping all night. It's been hour 9. It's hour 10 in here. You deserve it, Daddy. Get that nut. Pause. God damn.
Couple hours. It was a weird thing because at this point in time, I'd never had like another male in the room like that. So when he was like, finish, you got to finish manually. So it was a task. Like, I feel like this arm was significantly bigger than this arm by the time I left, because I'm just like, you know, this is weird. He's literally off to the side, drinking Ciroc, talking about get it, King, get her, King. It was just a weird, he's in like this. So I'm like, all right, this is surreal. But so I finish, and my thought process is, they were getting up to go take a shower because we're in the living room. And they were going to go back to their back room. So when she got up to go to the back room, I didn't think anything of it. You're not going to use these KY Johnson & Johnson towels to wipe that off, right? So I'm thinking you're going to go to the back room. So I never crossed my mind what they were doing back there. Had no idea that she was finger painting on his chest. So.
Your man juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was funny was when I had Punisher on my show, and the exact same routine, right? Have sex, pull out, bust on her, and then she would like run off in the other room, with it. Because a lot of times with him, like Diddy would go in the other room before they finished. She would like go to him and close the door. And he said when he watched the trial, and when she said that, she would take the cum and rub it on his chest, he was actually relieved because he thought that Diddy was eating it.
I don't know if I'd be relieved. I'm probably equally as terrified from both of those things. Right? I'm like, there's no way this is a good scenario.
It's all bad.
I mean, damn, it's a lot. I found out just like he did during the court process, and I'm reading this transcript with my girlfriend, and she's like, he did what? So it was like we were all blindsided by that. I never got that vibe from him, that this was something that he was. To me, it was just he's all about the visual. He wants to watch. I didn't know they were engaging and stuff in the back room. When they would leave, he would be like, all right, bro, you can go ahead and order room service and smoke. And, if you want to leave, you can leave, or I'll come back out and we'll hang out for a second, and then maybe we'll do another one. But, this is like 8 or 9 hours in. I'm not trying to do nothing else. So more times than not, it would just be wrapped up after that.
Damn. Get it, King. Get it. Nuts. Nigga did what? I ain't watching these yet. Yo, chat, we just kind of chilling. I'm gonna chill till 8, bro. Like I know, like it's a holiday week, and I'm still trying to put a little streaming hours in. Don't be like, damn, Ack, you just watching videos today. I'll be scrambling and scraping for y'all, chat. Pause. I deserve it. Chill. Nah, but it's July 4th. Let me chill a little bit. I'll stay on till 9, and then I get off and shit like that. Just trying to keep the streak going. I think we're on day 5. I think so. Get me? Again, I'm trying to figure out the particulars because I'm about to go on vacation, chat. I'm trying to figure out the particulars how I could stream like an hour a day during my vacation. An hour a day. It's like an hour a day type shit. You feel me? But just I know we have a high standard for streaming. Just give me a little break. We just finished a big trial. It's the 4th. I'm sipping a little bit. I told you I don't got no friends. Nobody. I ain't gonna lie. I swear. Nobody invited me to a cookout today. That shit was crazy. Niggas do cookouts still? Not one invite. Like, yo, bro, what you doing today? Not one. I don't know what's going on. My phone look dry. I have to check my other phone, man. I ain't get invited to nothing. So I said, I'm gonna just get on stream, man. I'm like, nobody love me but the chat niggas, man. Yo, you ever feel lonely? I'm like, ain't nobody love me but the chat niggas, man. Let me get on stream real quick. I'll watch some videos with y'all. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, so you got paid $3,500, and they booked you 2 more times.
Yeah, they booked me 3 more times. One of those times, I came over and I got off the elevator, and he pretty much met me at the door and was like, hey, she's not feeling good right now, so we're gonna scratch this and do it like a different night. I'm like, all right, cool. So,
okay, now as you're getting to the second and third session, it was pretty much the same routine, but certain things were different, because at one point you guys would be having sex, you and Cassie, and then Diddy would like tag in.
Yeah, like so we'd be engaging, and he would be like, all right, King, like I'm about to tap in right now, and then he would say, go over there. So I would go over there, and then he'd come over, and then they would engage in their own passionate intercourse, which wouldn't last too long, and then he'd be like, all right, I'm good, come back over, and he'd go back over to where he was, and then I'd sit there and yeah, he kind of switched off, but he never wanted me around him, which is why I thought that the gay accusations were a bit much, because knowing him as long as I've known him, I never got that vibe from him. He never even wanted me next to him when this was happening. I didn't want him next to me either, so it seemed like we were all on the same page, right? So, yeah, he did his thing.
Although rubbing and cum on his nipples is somewhat gay, so
I wasn't involved in that. I wasn't involved in that, but yes, yeah, what he did, that was diabolical.
There's that one hill you have to get over, to try to dispel that myth. I'm just saying, it's a big hill. It's very steep.
It's a very big hill.
It's a very steep hill. Now, in the beginning, you and Cassie were using condoms, but that switched at one point.
Yeah, I think one time we went without, and to be clear on that, he would always ask, "Do you want to do this without a condom?" And there was
yo, chat, I'm gonna keep it up being with you, bro. Like, again, yo, I do think Diddy gay and everything, but hearing these sex workers talk about it, yo, Diddy freaky, he gay, he whatever. Bro, he's always asking questions like, yo, you want to do that? Nah, tell him how you feel. Whatever. Go, King, get your nut. Yo, this thing look like the best host in the world. How the fuck is he sex trafficking? The nigga is always asking you how to make you happy. He's not... Nah, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. They railroaded Diddy, bro. He freaky. Diddy went to jail for being gay. That's what I'm thinking now. He went to jail for being gay. That's a fact. Because this nigga sound like he's a great host. He's passing you Ciroc. He might pass you a condom. You bought a nut. He cheering you on. Get it, King. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, hold on. Nah, he's telling the bitch to appreciate you. Yo, tell him what you appreciate about him. Damn. What more do you want from me? Like, God damn, bro.
Although rubbing and cum on his nipples is somewhat gay, so
I wasn't involved in that. I wasn't involved in that, but yes, yeah, what he did, that was diabolical.
There's that one hill you have to get over, to try to dispel that myth. I'm just saying, it's a big hill. It's very steep.
It's a very big hill.
It's a very steep hill. Now, in the beginning, you and Cassie were using condoms, but that switched at one point.
Yeah, I think one time we went without, and to be clear on that, he would always ask, "Do you want to do this without a condom?" And they would have a conversation as if I'm not in the room. Very calm. She'd be like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "These guys are tested." And she would ask me, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm tested." And he'd be like, "Do you want to do this?" And she'd be like, "No, not right now." And he would kind of just let that go. He was never forceful in like saying, "You need to do this, you need to do that." So, and I think one of the times out of the 4 was one time that we did engage in intercourse without protection, but it was very quick. She came to me and started that process and looked to him to see if this was something that was like cool to do, and he kind of gave a head nod, and that's what it was.
In the words of Cameron, how was the pussy?
How do you think it was? It was great.
It was great?
It was great. I was singing Me and You in my head the whole time.
Oh, shit. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I think Cassie was tight. I'm going to be honest with you. I think most of these niggas could nut, not only because Diddy was walking around and jerking off. Man. Yo, Cassie shit gotta be loose. You know what I mean? Now they got surgeries and shit that could address that, but shout out to Cassie though. We ain't trying to shame her. No type of shit like that. This other nigga. That other guy, the third guy, he funny. He funny. The last one we just listened to, he funny. I could tell he like joking wise, he funny.
This was like maybe 6 months later, 9 months later, something like that.
Yeah.
When you heard about the lawsuit, what did you think?
It
kind of like blew my mind. And then like when the lawsuit came out, like all allegations came out, and there was like 3 friends I told about the situation, and they called me instantly. They're like, "Man, Rico, remember you telling me about the all situation and like sending me the links?" And I'm like, "Man, this is crazy," But I never thought it would come to me, and I started getting calls from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, started calling me.
saying they wanted to talk to me, and I had a friend that was an attorney, so I called him, and he was like, well, you don't have to talk to them. They don't have a subpoena, this and this. So then, like, 2 days later, they called me. It was like, we have a subpoena, so you got to talk to us. So I just avoided them. Like, they was calling me, trying to meet up with me. And they knew I lived on Sunset. They was like, we're here on Sunset. We just want you to talk to you for a second. So I avoided them for like 5 months. And then I was promoting an event I was working for, and I posted on social media. And so I go outside. They're like, Rico, someone's outside. And I think it's just one of my guests trying to get into the event. And when I go out there, like, the guy pulls up a phone and starts recording me. Like, he hands me a letter, and as he's handing it to me, I grab it, and it's like a long line of people outside, and the producer for the show, when I grab it, and he pulls out his phone, and he was like, you're set to be here in the pier. He pulled up his shirt and showed his badge, and was like being like loud about it. And like, I knew exactly what it was once he started doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so now you have an actual subpoena.
Yeah.
For the grand jury.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did the Diddy house raids already happen or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So you now know that things are getting more and more serious. Right. So the Diddy house raids happen. The Cassie lawsuit has been settled, but everyone got to read through all the craziness in it. And did the Cassie video come out yet or no?
It was like just beginning. Like, that stuff was just beginning to come out.
Okay. When you saw the Cassie video, like the hallway, Intercontinental video, what'd you think?
I felt like that was bad. Like, I felt bad for her, and like felt bad for being around someone that ruthless that would do that to a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, before the video came out, he had a whole Instagram post like, all these lies spread about me. I will protect my name and my family. They're all false, whatever. Then that video comes out, and then he does he's like, yo, I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
I was in a dark place.
Should have said that at first.
I know, right? So the video comes out. The lawsuit, has been settled. The house raids have happened. I mean, when you heard about the house raids, when they raided both his L.A. and Miami home, did you think at this point, okay, things are really getting serious?
Yeah, I did. But at the same time, in my head, I was like, I did let him record any of me, so I wasn't really worried. So I didn't think I had anything to worry about,
Right. But now you have an actual subpoena to go to a grand jury. Where was that? In what state?
New York.
In New York?
Yep.
Okay, so what was the grand jury like?
I actually did it on Zoom, so it was like me and like 8 people. It was me and my lawyer, I guess, like the DA and like 7 jurors. And they just questioned me about what happened and everything that went on. Kind of told them the same thing, and was asking questions like, did I feel forced, or did it feel like she was forced, or was there any drugs around, like kind of stuff that could lead to something,
Right. And, I mean, based on what you said, you weren't forced.
Yep.
Did she seem like she was forced at all?
She was chill and enjoying it. I didn't feel like nobody was forced in the situation.
Right. And there really were no drugs. It was just...
How the hell did they get an indict? Well, they always say you could indict a ham sandwich, chat. Remember, let me break this down one more time for y'all, chat. To convict someone at trial is the highest burden of proof required in the land, beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? For someone to, beyond that is going to be a search warrant. A search warrant is, you have to have extremely strong probable cause. This is why they use Lil Rod, Ronnie Jones, because he knew where things were going to be. And it's not only to say, I think this nigga's doing a crime, let's go in his house. You need to know what you're going to find in the house, where it's at, and what you reasonably expect to help prove your case. Okay. So we're going down how easy shit is, right? Then beyond that, right, that's still in the probable cause realm, but that probable cause has to be signed off by a judge. So a search warrant, you need probable cause, but a judge has to approve it. Okay. Then you need, let's see what else you need probable cause for. Okay, probable cause to search your car. Don't need no judge. Yo, we smelled weed. That's usually good enough, or they could bring a dog, like if you're in a car, there's actually a lot more different rules when it comes to like cars because it's still the Fourth Amendment right. They can run up in your car. They don't need a judge. They don't need a judge. When it comes to a house, they always need a judge. Your car on public roads, they don't need a judge. Okay? What else is probable cause? Right? I'm trying to think. What else? That was my train of thought. I am drinking a little bit. I'm sorry, child.
Feel forced, or did it feel like she was forced?
And I mean, basically.
So my whole thing is why it's easy to indict. So to get an indictment from a grand jury, and in most places, in most precincts, to get a indictment on felony charges, with most places usually require a felony. For a felony or a serious felony, especially first degree or second degree, they want a jury of your own peers to indict you. What does the indictment means? There is a probable cause that a crime was committed by that person. Now, there's a saying, a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich. Why? The grand jury only hears, in most places, from the prosecutor. So it'll be 23 people. I think it's the same in New York. And 23 people, they will link up. They're reviewing evidence. The jurors are able to ask. So I don't know if it works. I think it does work the same federally. So a grand juror was able to ask him a question like, "Yo, bro, did he ever grab you by the neck?" And so they were able to ask questions, a Q&A damn near, right? The prosecution is almost just guiding the evidence. This is why it says it's easy to indict anyone, because there's no pushback. When we heard all this Diddy shit, there's no pushback in a grand jury hearings. They're just kind of laying it out. Maybe they talked to some of these guys before and knew like, all right, you gonna say some shit that the grand jury ain't gonna like. We're not gonna put you in front of the grand jury. We want to put a narrative there. So the grand jury has to vote, and the indictment in most places, except the Commonwealth. The Commonwealths, like for example Pennsylvania and a couple other places, they might have different percentage. Sometimes it's 66%, but usually it's over 50%, which means that's what, if I say 23 people, you just need, and by the way, the grand jury listens to many different cases. They'll convene for maybe 2 to 3 months. They'll listen to mad cases, and they'll vote. And usually, if we're going on the 51% rule, as long as 12 out of 23 votes probable cause is there to indict, a true bill of indictment comes down. Okay? It's an easy way to take accountability off of the DA, off of the investigators. It basically says a jury of your peers, a grand jury of your peers, says you should stand trial. Okay, so let's keep going down. And so that's how Diddy got indicted. But the more I'm hearing this, I'm like, how did the nigga get indicted? Because all the sex workers are saying it's consensual. No one is saying it's non-consensual but Cassie and that fucking hoe Jane Doe. The least, and hopefully when I'm like kicking my shit a little bit, hopefully you could understand and take this. It's law for most places. You might have to specify. It depends on where you live at, because trust me, there's so many different places in New York. Yo, I'm gonna fuck Prince up. He's up there barking up a storm. Prince think he's beefing with an inanimate object. He just sits there and like barks at it the whole time. I can hear this motherfucker. I got him out there with Pluto. That's his son. Pluto got to teach that nigga, like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, so the lesser thing is reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion is what is a very low level suspicion, but it's reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed or was about to be committed. Usually in most places, that's where people could ask you for ID. That's as much as they could do. They could stop you and they could briefly detain you to ask simple questions, okay? And when I mean briefly detain you, say, hey, listen, not put you in custody and cuffs. Hey, could you identify yourself, sir? We got a call that there's a 6'5" guy who's black wearing a white t-shirt that just broke into a house. You look like you're over 6 foot. You got a white t-shirt. Could you show us some ID? That doesn't mean somebody's getting arrested, but that's the lowest level of investigation, right? Reasonable suspicion could be someone made a 911 call, someone made an anonymous report. The police are just investigating a crime or investigating some suspicious things, and they have now deemed that a crime may have been committed, and they think, and now they're trying to do that. So again, you have reasonable suspicion at the bottom, right? So that's the cops thinking a crime has been committed, or will be committed, or was about to be committed. Then you have probable cause. Probable cause has been subject of so many Supreme Court cases, because probable cause goes into sometimes affecting your constitutional rights, especially your Fourth Amendment right, which is the right against unlawful searches and seizures, right? If they tell you to get out the car and they're going to search your car, that's because they think they have probable cause that, you know, if they see a chopped off head in the back of the car, it's clearly probable cause. We think that's someone dead. We're going to go search the fucking car, my nigga, okay? Clear probable cause. The thing they use a lot when, you know, obviously they've legalized weed a lot in most states, but like if you go to Florida, and I'm pretty sure I just seen D-Thing get arrested for a gun, probably had in the car. All these niggas who love having guns, love smoking. In a place like Florida, weed is still illegal. The cops comes up, they probably see a bunch of niggas, red eyes, they look like they're up to no good. All the cop gonna do, kind of lean in, say he smelled weed, say he want to search a car or go get a dog, and they're gonna go get the probable cause that there's weed in the car. They search a car, they could go find your gun. You know what I mean? So you have reasonable suspicion, probable cause, and when you get to the court system, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. But the sad thing about the grand jury process is that it still deals with probable cause. It's just, it's on a slightly higher level, but not that much. So put it like this. The same probable cause that a cop said, oh, I think I smelled some weed in your car, I gotta search it, is the same around the realm probable cause that ends up being you getting indicted and having to be locked up for like a year and potentially go to jail for life. Ain't that a bitch? Because a grand jury indicts on probable cause. That's it. Sorry for the spiel, but you know I'm a little lit. But you know, that's my wannabe legal ass trying to put y'all on some game.
And they just questioned me about what happened and everything that went on. Kind of told them the same thing, you know. And was asking questions like, did I feel forced, or did it feel like she was forced, or was there any drugs around, like kind of stuff that could lead to something, you know?
Right. And, I mean, based on what you said, you weren't forced.
Yep.
Did she seem like she was forced at all?
She was chill and enjoying it. I didn't feel like nobody was forced in the situation.
Right. And there really were no drugs. It was just like
It was just weed, alcohol, yeah.
Exactly. And then just the various, you know, quarter store pills and honey and whatever else, right? Baby oil. Exactly. Were you worried that you might get charged with prostitution at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do they say about that?
They just told me as long as I just tell them what really happened, I would have nothing to worry about.
I mean, during this grand jury process, were any of the other, you know, escorts that were part of this agency, were they part of it as well? Like some of your people were also part of this grand jury?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were like talking with each other, like, yo, I'm about to go, and you go, and so forth. So how many people did you know that were part of this grand jury?
2.
So 3 of you total?
Yeah.
And how did everyone feel when you guys were talking to each other?
Kind of just like nervous that there would be consequences for us, and wondering what the turnout was going to be, and like we didn't know at the time that it was going to be released, so like none of us was really saying anything about it.
Were they saying they're going to actually put you on the stand?
They said it's a possibility.
Okay. How'd you feel about that?
I didn't want to do it, but if I had to, you have to, you know.
Did any of the other escorts that you do, the other 2 guys, did they ever take the stand?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Punisher.
Oh, you do Punisher?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. How do you feel about his whole penis implant thing, by the way?
type of question you asking, Vlad? How do I feel about a non-man penis implant? Hey, okay, so maybe all these three guys. So him, Punishers, they're from Cowboy and Angels. I think this guy Don the dealer, is probably his too. Interesting. Interesting, Chad. Yo, Adam and Lena did an interview.
Me.
You?
I think me.
Wait.
No.
I mean, if you look at both your careers individually, who's made more money?
I think me.
You?
I think me.
No, I think me for sure. For sure. I mean, I have less overhead and I made a lot of money. Like, I had OnlyFans before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened, and I thought my money was going to go down. I was pregnant February 2020, and everything was going up because everyone had those checks to spend at home. And then I did the thing with Jason, and that made millions. And I have like one employee, so I pocketed a lot more of it.
I agree. I think that there's been times where I was bringing in more money than her, but in terms of just consistency, I mean, her fans and her business is just like...
That first month where I made $35K, I was so afraid to spend $1 because I was like...
That gotta be capped. That gotta be capped. But I always say, Adam never be keeping the 100 when it comes to money. Maybe OnlyFans versus YouTube. But like everything that Adam does, minus porn, like come on. I don't know.
Like blown away by how much money it was, and I thought that I had that someone was gonna just take it back.
Wait, why did Adam? Yo, Adam is so petty. Yo, Adam sent me like some of his former employees. Yo, you know the nigga with the little retarded nigga who was it back on whatever? This is a nigga made like $7,000 a month, and I'm like,